right, OverManiacs. It's that magical number again. Episode 69, dude. And I couldn't wait to do this circus without the guy who somehow makes this sound like logic. He's the human embodiment of Mountain Dew Code Red Bender, the man who still swears that 1999 was the peak of Western civilization, the only person I know who treats cookout trays like they're part of a balanced diet. He's been arguing about wrestling since the MySpace Top 8 days. He still thinks Limp Bizkit should headline WrestleMania. And if you ever call AEW the future of the business, he'll hit you with a thesis paper on why Vince McMahon is secretly immortal.
Oh, I don't
Like the
know.
Highlander?
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the nostalgia trip that refuses to end. My partner in wrestling insanity, TJ. Yeah, TJ.
What's going on, Dave?
Oh, I didn't mean to hit that one.
Oh, it's all right.
What's up, TJ?
Well, you're looking at it. We're doing this. We're doing our podcast, episode 69. It's a really big deal. You can only get 69 once on one of your podcasts, right. And it just so happens to be this one. And it couldn't be any better because you got me and Dave here when we're ripping and roaring and ready to go and talk shit about maybe some bad wrestling, maybe not. You'll have to see once we get there. But yeah, it's been one hell of a week, man. You know, it's been raining and got my full weekend and all that, so that was nice. I didn't have to take any days off. I'm always happy when I get paid when I'm supposed to, and you know,
right.
Just a little bit tired throughout the week. You know, that's what those rainy days do. But been working pretty hard the last 2 days, but it's all good. You know, here we are. It's the weekend, and it's you know, ready to maybe try to dig into some kind of fun game or something over the weekend.
Hell yeah. Well, and speaking of the weekend, you know, today's Halloween.
Yeah.
And you know what that means.
I know what it means. You tell me, though. I'd like, yep. I can't believe it.
Better watch out there. Oh, wow. You know, maybe.
But yeah, so a lot of people, they don't know on Halloween there's this guy that goes around and he basically like does some pretty illegal activities to people against their will, and it's something that me and Dave have managed to avoid our entire life, and we were only made aware of it probably like 3-4 years ago or something like that. But yeah, we just
just stay in the house, you're fine.
Yeah, we just try to spread the message of BD Randy. Maybe look this up. Digbar will tell you all about it if you just look up Digbar and Randy, and there's a whole bunch of songs about it, and you know, it's something that Dave's kind of modeled his life after since he's figured it out, and he's just wow.
Yeah, you know, I don't want Randy to get me, you know. We're trying to avoid that if we can.
So what's going on with WoW? You can be raiding soon?
Well, the raid comes out tomorrow. We're gonna not raid on that day because it's a Saturday and not a day we usually
That's
would.
Weird.
But B, because it's a private server and stuff has been kind of up and down at times, and I imagine on raid launch day that will probably be quite the issue. So you know, Sunday was traditionally our extracurricular day when we raided normally, so that worked best for the fellas. So, you know, we're going to open it up on Sunday, and then we're going to settle into a Tuesday, probably like 8 to 10 type of situation. And, you know, I don't plan on pushing very hard or anything like that. And, you know, it's just...
Do you know what to expect?
Hopefully yeah, you know, it's not going to be too much different from what we have already done in there previously, is my understanding. It just depends on the difficulty. There's like, you know, normal, heroic, and mythic, and then ascended difficulties, and which you know, we're gonna try to start on heroic. You know, we're just going in modestly, you know, and essentially it's kind of like feels like probably will feel like what normal ZG felt like to us. You know, maybe a step up from that is what I'm expecting in terms of how hard the stuff hits.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. But you know, they have advertised that there are new mechanics in the Ascended raids. So that leads me to believe that the regular raids just have the mechanics that we're already used to. So
Manuel.
shouldn't really be much of an issue, I don't think.
Are they like shade tree mechanics or are they like legit?
Well, because it's a private server, I would probably say Shade Tree a bit. We'll see.
That's funny. Yeah, I've been messing around with emulators a lot the past couple weeks, and that Xbox emulator, it's really good. It's like super efficient. I was playing the Futurama game the other day, which that's actually a rarer game. It came out at the end of the PS2 and Xbox's life cycle, and it wasn't that popular at the time. Futurama, and it became more of like a cult following later. So it's about like it costs as much as Chrono Trigger. It's about $200.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's pretty wild, and it's a kind of rough around the edges game, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty fun. And it's kind of like akin to like something like it's not like the driving mechanics of like hit and run, but it's like kind of like an homage to the game and all that, and all the characters are in it, and it's like good writings. People like called like the lost episode, like because it's written by people that did that Grammy Award winning episode where he was his own grandpa. If you remember, where they went back in time, and
Yeah.
so it's written by those same people, but then it was made by a Swedish game company that only ever made one game, that game. And then it's all the other stuff that make a video game, but it's pretty interesting, and I've been playing some other games too, but overall, I think I might want to try to get into something else tomorrow. No clue what that is, but I'll let you know when I get there.
Well, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Brandon told me him and Ashley were like, oh, if they had the boosts, so that they'll be playing at some point, I think, because they can't not add boosts, I would think.
I don't know. I don't know why the next time we just don't hop into like a fresh server and just join somebody else's fucking guild. You know what I mean? And then just take the load off and don't
Yep.
don't set shit up.
Well, I could tell you why, but we're not going to talk about that on this show. That's a whole other show entirely for maybe a different channel someday. But we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about today's topics, which
What's
are
that?
Raw from October 27th, 2025, Dynamite from October 29th, 2025, and we got a little bit of the news, and we're going to get the hell out of here and enjoy our Halloween. Yeah, make sure you follow us on all of our socials at OverMark ENT. Send copious amounts of Arizona sweet tea and Arnold Palmer's to TJ and I's homes, and pizzas.
Corn.
Looking for a pizza sponsorship, looking for a corn sponsorship.
Really anything.
Yeah, flip flops,
Money.
hats. Yeah, we like that.
Oh yeah.
Hell
Oh wow.
yeah. So if you like head,
Yep.
he likes. Oh wow. Well.
Oh man.
He's out of here. He's hanging up. Well, I feel like I have been gifted the WWE segments quite a bit lately. I'll let you take Raw tonight. How about that?
All right. Well, this was Monday, October 27th, this year, 2025. Yeah, they had an attendance, which was a sellout in the Honda Center of 12,439. That's always usually a pretty packed place anytime they go there. It's in Anaheim, California. And they started off with the CM Punk Jey Uso promo. I thought this was pretty good. Jey Uso kind of gets all emotional and makes some weird fucking noises, but beyond that, I thought this thing it was pretty solid. And Punk's always pretty great on the mic, and he could actually completely eviscerate these guys if they gave him the opportunity to do so, and he's not doing that for a reason.
Right? It wouldn't be very compelling television if he just went out there and smoked everybody every week. I mean, we would like it, but
Yeah.
It wouldn't be great for everybody else's character development, probably.
I think so.
But screw those guys. We like CM Punk, and we like this segment. And I liked the way that Jay came out to quite a bit of hype from the crowd. and then Punk's music cut him off partway through his promo, and then the crowd was even louder for Punk. It was kind of just like a showing him, yeah, in a way, like you're not on my level,
Yeah,
like from a storyline perspective, and just happened to work with the fans. You know how that stuff goes. They kind of steer them into doing what they want.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
then we got old Penta versus Rusev, and they went to a no contest in the WWE Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders match. I guess that means that they're going to do a 3-way here. Penta's entrance, man, they just keep adding shit to it. It's pretty badass. And this, I wouldn't say was a bad match. I enjoyed it, but man, Rusev is just they. I liked his character when he was first in AEW with the whole like he was into video games and streaming and like he what was he, the best man? I like that shit more than this.
Yeah. I was seeing a meme today. He and Aleister Black have already lost more matches back in the WWE than they lost their entire runs in AEW.
I'm not worried about losing. I'm more worried about just being used in good programs and good shit and entertaining television. And I don't think he's done
Yeah.
too much of that since he's came back.
No, not at all. I don't know. This match was okay though, and
Yeah.
I really like Penta, and like you said, they keep adding to his entrance. That shit's awesome. He's got one of the best entrances in wrestling,
Ever.
of active wrestlers, I think.
Ever, I think. That shit's
Ever.
nuts.
Well, I mean, come on, dog. Undertaker.
No, I mean, like, when you think about it, back in the day, who was coming out to all that, like, crazy fire spinning thing? That's badass.
It's definitely super badass.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about Ever, there's a large amount of people. But, I mean, it's, it doesn't have to be an actual, like, list. I just think, like, it's a pretty badass entrance. It stands up to anybody's.
Yeah.
Obviously, some are more timeless than others. But, then we got Roxanne Perez defeating Nikki Bella. This is actually a pretty solid match. I enjoyed it.
Yep. The fans all over the internet were talking about Nikki Bella's outfit for some reason. I saw that was trending. I don't know. I guess it was a nice enough outfit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean she looks pretty good for her age. I think she's 41. Not to say that 41's old or anything, but yeah,
Yeah, you better watch out now. She'll be turning 43 here in a few days.
She's taking care of herself.
She's in great shape,
Yeah.
and so is Roxanne. And it probably really cool for Roxanne to have this match. We were
She's a
seeing
big
all the
fan.
pictures of her online meeting Nikki Bella when she was a kid and stuff. So yeah, full circle type of deal. Cool.
I think so. And then we got Bron Breakker defeating LA Knight. I don't know. This is okay, I guess. I didn't hate it, but it didn't blow me away by any means. It just kind of felt like it was there.
Yeah, I wanted more out of it, and I know both of these guys can do more than this. So I'm led to believe that this was a handcuffed by creative type of thing. But I like both of these guys, and this was a bright spot in the program for me, I think.
Well, and then we got JD McDonough defeating Sheamus. While I don't think this was really the what you could classify as a bad match by any means. It's just kind of what we talked about earlier with Rusev. It's hard to get into anything that Sheamus is involved in these days. I think they should have him in like a tag team with somebody or something. I think him and Cesaro back in the day, they were really good, and I forget what the name of their tag team was.
It was like the Bang Bros or something like that. Like it literally was that.
I don't know, but either way, I thought that they did pretty good then. And I think Sheamus is capable of elevating somebody in a tag team program with him. But I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there. You didn't like it.
That's kind of how I felt about this match. I don't know. This was a bathroom break, snack break, smoke break match for me.
Okay. That's fair. Think compared to all the other matches, this was probably the one that you could say that about.
Yeah.
Then we got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defeating Lyra Valkyria and Bayley to retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. This is one of the best women's tag team matches they've ever had on any of their programming. I remember they had one with Belair and I don't know. There was a tag team match with like a couple months back, and I think it was like the best one they've ever had in the company with women. And I think this is like probably like definitely within the top 5. It was a great fucking match.
It really was, and it was a really good main event. I almost picked this, spoiler alert, as my high point, but I ended up not, just because I don't know why. But yeah, this was a great match.
Yeah. Well, I I I think the chicks are really carrying the show
Yeah,
the past 3 months or so. And I'm, never really thought I'd be saying this back in the day, but I definitely am kind of really enjoying the female wrestling. It's pretty good. Now, some chicks like Stephanie Vakir, they don't really have anything that I can sink my teeth into with her, but I'm sure that at one point that will change. Hopefully, not saying she's bad. It's just she's not doing anything that great with the program she's
I
in.
think once her English becomes more strong, I think that
Yeah.
more people will gravitate towards her. But she's doing great, and we love Stephanie.
What if she's stupid and she never learns English well?
Well, she knows the universal language of wrestling, so that's good enough, I suppose.
What's that high point that you had?
Well, I was torn. I ended up picking the Braun versus LA Knight just because I really like these guys, and there is an actual story involved here, whereas the main event was kind of just felt like a match to have a match. Even though it was a super good match, to TJ's point earlier, it was definitely a better match than this. I just, I really liked these guys. I don't know. It is what it is.
Excuse me, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I put Flair and Bliss versus Lyra and Bailey. Thought this was one of the best women's matches, especially tag, that they've ever had on their programming. They gave them a lot of time. They let them shine, and it's cool. It like, not gonna talk about it too much, but how Ronda Rousey was like kind of talking shit on working with Alexa Bliss and all that, and it's like Ronda Rousey wishes that she could have like a match like this on a Monday, in a tag team like deal. And Charlotte Flair's
Yeah.
out there doing some of the best work that she's done in years. It's good stuff. And Bailey as well. She was there, and Lyra, she's holding her into the bargain.
Tuesday morning, I get in Discord, and first thing that Brandon's talking to me about, he's like, "Did you see Bailey and Charlotte last night?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Ah, I wasn't really a fan of them before, but man, they looked incredible. The match was incredible." I'm like, "Yeah, you." So he gets it now.
Yeah, I think they just WWE needs to have a little bit edgier things going on, like modern issues that adults have with each other on their show, just kind of like adult storylines a little bit. Nothing too bad, just
Realistic.
yeah, yeah. Like maybe somebody like texts somebody on somebody else's phone without their knowledge and deletes it so they don't know, and then has somebody, but some stupid shit like that, and like somebody fucking with somebody behind somebody's back, like in a really malicious but like modern way, you know. But I don't know. I'm sure they'll get there, and then just let the matches actually flesh out. Don't rush them. Give the chicks a chance. Give the guys a chance too, but not the same match for like Bron Breakker and Bronson having the same match with like the Usos or whoever the fuck for like 2 months.
Yeah, no, get that shit out of here. That would have been a low point if that would have been on here. And speaking of low points, what was yours?
Um, it was the same one that you had, JD and Sheamus. I mean, there wasn't too much else to pick on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I just
JD's good.
I'm sorry, Seamus. I love you, but I'm kind of tired of you.
Well, speaking of something, I think it's kind of funny. This is the best rating that we've given a weekly wrestling TV show in a couple months. I think a 6.
Yep.
Both of us.
Got a double sixes,
Yeah,
just like the jersey here.
that's cool.
Um, yeah, I didn't even plan that actually. I didn't know what you had rated the show, so that's cool.
Well,
Good episode of Raw. TJ and I both were commented to each other the following day that, like, yeah, that was a good episode.
the pacing was good. They didn't let anything drag too long that was useless crap. And there wasn't too much useless crap on the show, so not bad.
Yep. Well,
Take us on.
we're, I wish I could say the not bad about this next thing, but we had AEW Dynamite from October 29th, 2025, with a attendance of 3,030, set up for 3,278. Looks like 248 left over at the Burt Ogden Arena in Einberg, Texas. Not quite sure where that is, but somewhere where I'm sure fine people live that hopefully listen to our program.
Wasn't a bad crowd.
No, seemed like they enjoyed it for what it was. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
They probably had liquor deals, so it made this a lot more fun to watch. I don't know. But the first match here, we had Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin defeating Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia. Man, I don't know why you want to open with Wheeler and Daniel Garcia on your show. Don't these guys usually make people not watch the show?
Yeah. Like you, I'm not too crazy about old Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia. So, but before we jump into that, actually, we just got the ratings. If you want to talk about that real quick.
Oh, sure.
We don't have to linger on it too long, but they got 459,000 viewers with a 0.08 in the 18 to 49 demo there. So they were.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're can kind of show it here a little bit, but it's not going to show up too good. Really for you to see, but overall their ticket sales are down by a third compared to 2 years ago. Last year they were pretty similar, but they're still lower than they were. But yeah, I'm trying to see. So they were down 4% compared to the week before. I just want to see on here like what they were ranked on cable for the night. If I can see that. Usually they had number 6. So they were number 6. You remember when they first came out, they were number 1 almost every time?
Yeah. Weird how that happens, you know?
Yeah. But
I wonder what's going on there.
But anyways, I will jump to this so you can keep going on this real fast. But Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, what a shitty fucking tag team. You gotta be kidding me. 2 guys that I don't want to see and you pair them together, that's not really heat. It's just like, oh fuck, now I gotta see double the shit in one piling. And to top it all off, you sprinkle in that they're in the Death Riders, and it's like, why would I care about that? Darby and Orange Cassidy and them tagging, I can get behind that. I don't mind that. And this wasn't the worst match in the world, but it like by any means, if you had these guys, like imagine Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin going against Edge and Christian or something like that. Like
people you actually cared about, not people that made you want to not watch.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to move on. We had FTR defeating Jet Speed and Jurassic Express. And this was a decent enough match. I'm not crazy about Jet Speed and Jurassic Express, but you know, they did a fine enough job. I mean, the in-ring's usually good or good enough in AEW anyway. But
that Mike Bailey guy,
I hate this.
No, he really takes me out a lot. That stupid kick thing he does, like
He's a goof.
Yeah, and he can do some shit all right, but I don't know. When you're not into 2 of the teams in a 3-way match, it kind of takes you a little bit out of it.
Yeah, it does. Well, speaking of taking me out of it, we're going to get out of this and get into that. And we had the Sisters of Sin, which is Sky Blue and Julia Hart defeating Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata. I didn't hate this match. It wasn't the greatest. I like most of these gals. It's all right.
Julia Hart hasn't. There was a point where I remember like we were both kind of singing her praises. Like it seemed like she was improving a lot. That doesn't seem to be the case these days. Sky Blue's all right.
She had Aleister Black telling her what to do.
Yeah, well, I don't know. She just, I don't hate her or anything. And like, I don't know, Queen Aminata, I'm not really crazy about anything she does. She doesn't really do too much. And Jamie Hayter just seems kind of like the top of the middle card or something like that for them. But I don't know. This is a kind of bullshit match.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for old Jamie Hayter because we know she's better than this.
Yeah.
But then our next match here, we had Samoa Joe defeating Hook, Bobby Lashley, and Ricochet in a fatal 4-way type of situation. I didn't necessarily hate this match, and there's quite a bit of star power involved. Um, no shame to Hook or anything, but these other guys are kind of big, bigger stars than what he is. So
Well, he got choked out in the end.
he did.
Um, this was okay. I won't say that it was bad. I feel like for AEW TV segments with this amount of stars in it, though, it was kind of an average match compared to what you might usually see.
Right, you kind of would expect a little, but whatever. I don't know. You'll get a match with two guys you don't care about why they're doing 100 moves to
Yeah.
each other, and then you'll get this.
Yep.
But and there's got to be a good middle ground. But anyway, we had a main event which was John Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly, ending in a double countout, which means nobody won, including the audience, because nobody wants to see this. I didn't want to see this. Every episode of our show for a long time, you can go back, and me and TJ are like, just John Moxley the fuck out.
They open and close with the Death Riders.
Yep. And I mean, this ain't the NWO. You can't bookend your show with. Well, I mean, I guess you can, and you can draw 400,000 viewers. I don't know.
This
Nitro was getting like 10 times the viewership of this. I just want to point out, like literally 10 times.
This was a garbage match. Kyle O'Reilly tried to have a technical match with John Moxley, and parts of it, like when they were trying to trade submissions and stuff, and it just looks so bad.
He used to know how to wrestle.
Yeah. I feel for O'Reilly because I don't know why you would have that kind of match with this guy. This guy's only can have one kind of fucking match for the most part. But yeah, John Moxley, like he needs to switch characters up. He needs to take a break and go away for like 6 months. And I know they're not going to want to do that because they think this guy's the ace or some shit at their programming. But your program's severely lacking in a lot of areas, and the overexposure of certain people is a big problem. And this guy's the
You remember
top.
how like Jericho would change gimmicks, and I'm not talking about how like he is rotating gimmicks in AEW. I mean, like every so often he would hit like a refresh, and you'd get a new era of Jericho. People need to look to that as an example for inspiration. Like you need to know when it's time to change it up and when shit's not working. And this is an example of when it's time to change it up and shit's not working.
Could you imagine when he lost to Hangman? When he lost to Hangman, and we were like, oh man, this is cool. Like maybe we won't see as much as these guys. And then it turns out they're doubling down, and like he's still like headlining pay-per-views, and it like he'd open and close him with the show. And like, did you see at one point like when Penelope Ford got hurt, and then Megan Bain was like, they were asking her what she's gonna do to have it, like, because she's still in that tag team tournament, and then Marina Shafir walks up to her and they like shake hands, and Marina Shafir's gonna be in her team now. Why the fuck would you do that? Who gives a fuck about that?
Wait, so Penelope Ford is hurt for real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not great.
Yep. Well, she's hurt a lot. She just got back from getting hurt. But we can go ahead and move on. I just pointed out that they're all over the show and it stinks.
Maybe she needs to join old Mandy Sachs and Elanya Black in the, online content business instead of the wrestling business. Might be a little better for her health. But anyway, we got something coming up, TJ. You know what that is?
What's that? I don't think we gave our ratings yet. It was a 2.
Fuck.
And I got news for you.
Our ratings were a 2. The show sucked. We're tired of saying that it sucks.
Well, apparently it was one of the, like, I saw people saying it was one of the best Dynamites of the year.
I'm going to use a word that is inappropriate here, and if we get canceled, I'm sorry, but those people are retarded. They got a problem with their brain. And on that note, this time for real.
And I got news for you.
Oh.
So, yeah. So we got a WWE star confirms she's signed a long-term deal with the company, and Miss Chelsea Greene, everybody's favorite, yours and mine, just confirmed that she's officially signed a new long-term deal with the WWE. In the interviews, she said that she's directionless, but not in a bad way. She called herself one of the busiest women in the company, even without being in the title picture. this is pretty cool. We're glad to see Miss Chelsea Green get a deal. Her in ring's kind of a little need suspect and in need of some work lately, but her character work is fantastic, and she does the best with whatever they give her. And what do you think about her saying that she's directionless, but not in a bad way there, TJ?
I think that she doesn't have shit going on, and she can't talk poorly about the company that she works for in any fashion, because she would be in fear of being even more directionless. At least she's being featured a lot, and being like, at least like, there's plenty of people that said that they would rather be featured every night and lose than not be featured at all. I've heard multiple people say that throughout the years, but she like you said, she's pretty shitty in the ring these days compared to some of their top chicks. And her gimmick's somewhat played out. She's pretty talented, and I think it would do a lot for her if she got rid of the hanger-ons and was more of like a, her type of character. Because I feel like she could be a top heel in the company if they actually let her win, if they let her portray dominance, and they let her run her mouth. Because she's good at it,
Yep.
I feel like she's better at it than a lot of the chicks they have. They just don't give her good shit.
Yeah, I mean, you only can do what they let you do,
Yeah.
which is a fair thing. So do you think they actually have plans for her, or are they just trying to keep her around?
They're probably just trying to keep her around. They're not afraid of just dropping people, but I think at this point, a lot of the people that are already there that are longtime people are friends of the people or liked by the people that are running the show now. So if they haven't already gotten rid of you, they're probably going to hold on to you.
Right, it makes sense. Yeah, well, they did say that she signed until 2030, so
Good
that's
for her.
quite a bit of time. I think she's gonna be her mid 30s, or maybe older than that. I don't know. So this probably get one or two more deals after this, with the company, and then she'll be AEW bound.
I doubt it.
What is Chelsea Green doing in the Impact Zone?
I could see that.
Yeah, if WWE doesn't own them by then, or some other company.
I was thinking though, like, where do you see her? Like, you see her ever becoming the women's world champion? Where do you see her plateau? What do they like? Is she gonna sink, or is she gonna rise? What do you think?
Well, if they give her better booking and storytelling, they probably could have her in the main event. We haven't seen much of her in the main event scene to know for sure, but the little bit of her being able to be serious that we have seen, I think that she could be a rotational person in the main event scene. You know how you have those people that kind of move back and forth between, like, kind of being the high end of the mid card, or like the
Yeah.
low end of the main event scene.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably her. And maybe she could go beyond that and be a full on main event person, but I mean, it's not like the position that I mentioned would be a bad one to be in for anybody in any wrestling company.
I'm sure she's making a lot of money.
Yep.
But like, it's kind of funny them signing her and everything. Like, there's a lot of female talent out there, and they could have been scooping them up throughout like this period of time. Like, what does that say about like the depth of their women's division right now? Dave?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had like a brain fart there where my shit just shut down.
But
I don't know.
I mean, what do you think that says about them signing her? Basically, I'm asking, like, do you think that means that they're like somewhat lacking because like they signed somebody who I feel like talent-wise is kind of being like overshadowed by a lot of the new signings? Like what do you think this is?
I think that they know what they have with her, and there's a reason that they re-signed her for this amount of time. And even if we don't see it, the people that are there working with her day to day do. And Hunter usually doesn't try to hold on to people for extended periods of time if he doesn't have a vision for what they can do at some point.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap this up here. Unless you got anything that you'd like to add.
I saw one other thing that she said, and it's her talking about she wants to be on par with Rhea Ripley and Becky. Nobody's on par with Rhea. She's like the top chick in the company, probably the top women's wrestler popularity wise right now. I don't think that that's going to be really going on, and I think the only person that maybe is popular are either Io Sky or Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, I would put Rhea at the top of the top, male or female, at this
Yeah,
point in terms of crowd reaction. I mean, it's
I agree.
people like to liken it to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and
She gets pops.
nobody gets the Steve Austin pop
Modern
except for
day,
Steve Austin.
she gets
But
the good pops.
she gets the we would call it the Rhea pop now, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. But you want I'll get us
Might
on
have just coined a new term there, so you guys,
the Rhea
IWC,
pop.
remember that you heard the Rhea pop here first. Yeah. Well, we'll see if this new deal finally gets her to a real push or just more TV time with no payoff. Either way, she's clearly one of the more dependable people on the roster, and time will tell if her loyalty actually pays off.
Oh man, speaking of loyalty, that is the perfect segue into what I think we're going to be talking about here next. And it's funny because, I saw some rumors about some people that may be showing up at John Cena's last match. And one of them,
Oh,
I don't think we're talking about in this video. You know who that is. But we got somebody else that we will be talking about, and that's going to be Vince McMahon. And there's some reports saying that WWE could bring him back for a one-night appearance at John Cena's final match that December. Vince hasn't appeared publicly since leaving the company, so a cameo here will be his first return since the takeover TKO.
wow.
Which kind of begs me to wonder, like, would bringing him back for Cena's farewell be some kind of genuine thank you moment to, I guess, because Cena's probably asked for this. He's one of his only supporters, or do you
Yep.
think it's WWE testing the waters?
I think it's a mix of both. I think that Cena probably requested this, and WWE considered it under the terms of, like, well, we could test the waters and see if something like this works. And if it doesn't get a negative reaction, both in person and online, then maybe this opens the door for us to see Vince not necessarily involved with the show or the day to day or anything like that, but we're filming some specials and we're talking about this, and we're going to get Vince McMahon's perspective because he was the one running the show at the time, things of that nature, lots of biographies and things of that nature.
Well, I have a feeling that if the show's popularity starts to dip, that might be a real possibility. They might try to get the old Vince magic back in there, even though that's not going to help anything. But which leads me to something else I was wondering: does this completely hijack the show? Or does this make any sense to you?
I don't think that they would do it in a fashion that allows it to hijack the show. It'd probably be like, oh, here's Vince McMahon in the crowd, or like,
It hijacked the
I don't
news.
think that.
That's all people will be talking about the next day.
Yeah. Well, if that's a thing, or even if it's not a thing, we have to assume that Cena wants this. So I think if he's okay with being overshadowed on one of his last four nights, then why should anybody else care? Because he's the one that is the one that it's for, or is doing it, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny. Triple H, like, do you think he'd sign off on something like this? Like, or is this one of those last minute calls for? I mean, it's definitely like it's somebody from the top. Triple H, if they told him this is happening, he has no option, right?
Yeah. I feel like if this happens, that Cena probably talked with Triple H about it, and I don't know necessarily think that people from the top would be shoehorning it on in there. It would probably be a mutually agreed upon, because the people at the top don't necessarily want to deal with any kind of fallout. I mean, they were the ones that ousted him, so they don't want to deal with any goofy negative Vince McMahon stuff. They've been free and clear of it for a while here. So I think if anything, this is probably a Cena Hunter thing.
Yeah.
More Cena asking Hunter for it.
Well, I'm just saying somewhat too, like, if Triple H, like, even if he didn't want it to happen, what are they going to do? He can't do anything. They're going to tell him what to do. He has bosses, you know? He's not the end-all, be-all. Even the president, Nick Khan, has bosses. You know, so it's...
Yep.
But yeah, and then, like, you think fans even want to see Vince anymore? What do you think they're going to react? Like, what are they going to think?
Depends on where it's at.
Well, that's a good point. If it was in Florida,
He'd probably get cheered.
if it was in, let me think of a place, Chicago, Illinois.
It's a big wrestling town. And even though he doesn't align with their political leanings, which I know matters in some instances of wrestling fans, I think Chicago would probably show Vince love as well.
The Honda Center.
Which one?
The one in California that they were at this week.
Well,
No, there's no way.
50-50 split. I think that there'd be people showing him love, and I think that there'd be a lot of boos.
I think there'd be more booze, to tell you the truth. But
Probably.
we
You know,
go ahead.
well, it's just like Hogan. You know,
Yeah.
you could put Hogan in different buildings, and he'd be cheered or booed depending on where at. You know, you put Hogan in Chicago, he's going to get cheered. You put Vince in Chicago, he's going to get cheered. You put him out west, they're going to probably get booed. Northeast, they're going to probably get heroes welcome because they dominated the Northeast for so many decades.
Bottom line, me here, and then I'll tell you mine first, and you can reply. Good or bad idea? I think this is a terrible idea.
I don't think that this is the best idea. I think that it probably detracts from the event slightly. I do think that it's them kind of dog whistling to see if they can get him involved in future projects if something like this is to happen. You know, that there's going to be a reason behind it more than just, you know, a one-time him appearing here.
Yeah, it's
It'll be like a testing the water type of situation.
it's funny. I'm gonna like make up a nickname here, but Soy Boy Donnie is apparently gonna be going to the match too, which would be really funny if both of them went. That would really get some news.
I had heard that same thing actually, and I wouldn't be surprised. They'd probably be seated together.
I think
know.
so. They're buddies.
Yep,
Two billionaires.
that's true.
Who knows better?
Couple
Billionaire.
of chums.
Yeah, who knows a billion? Can I help it when I don't want to see one?
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, if he does actually show up, it'll either be one of the most surreal moments that they've had in wrestling history for a while, or the biggest PR gamble that WWE's pulled in years. Either way, nobody's going to be changing the channel that night, I'm pretty sure, for multiple different reasons.
That's a good segue into our next segment.
Look at your Discord
Speaking
real
of
quick.
changing the channel, huh?
Look at your Discord real quick before we move on to the next one.
Look at my Discord real quick. All right,
Yes.
hold on. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Every two. Yeah.
I think that's a
yeah.
good idea.
Sounds good to me.
We can skip stupid ones too that you don't like. Just
That
suggestions.
sounds good to me. Well, speaking of sounding good to me,
Wow.
we completely blew the segue there. Doesn't matter. We had a AEW WrestleDream revenues disaster or just another Meltzer guess. We got old Dave here saying that AEW's WrestleDream 2025 lost roughly 14.4% of its expected revenue due to an Amazon Prime streaming issue. But as usual, he didn't cite any resources or official data. AEW hasn't confirmed or denied anything. So TJ, how does Meltzer keep getting away with publishing exact pay-per-view numbers he clearly doesn't have access to? Like, who's giving him these stats? Is there a ghost in Tony Khan's office?
The only thing that would make sense to me is that it's what people rumored before, is that he has a stake in this company, right?
I mean, that's the only way that he could be getting this information unless Tony Khan is giving him it. And why would he give him information that is negative?
Exactly, and I feel like over time, like especially through the CM Punk thing, like Dave Meltzer's caused a lot of damage to this company. This isn't a guy that you can trust with your inside information. So not only do I think Tony Khan takes advice from Dave. I think he has his ear, and I think he's reactionary to what he says. I don't think he's giving him numbers. Tony Khan can't be that stupid. He is a business guy. I know his lawyers. He keeps them close to the hip. I don't think anybody's giving them these numbers, and that they are, they're lying to him, or he's guessing. But he's never officially given a source for where he gets these numbers.
Nope. I mean, if they actually lost 14.4% of their pay-per-view revenue from Amazon, why hasn't anybody from AEW or Amazon confirmed that? Shouldn't that be like a major investor issue? You know, what's going on here?
So, Brian from Jim's podcast, actually, I was listening the other morning while I was going to work, and he said that they refunded him. They gave him a credit of 15 and refunded him. So he actually said he's net positive from buying the pay-per-view from Amazon. So I think it is safe to say that they lost money from this. But, Dave reported that they had like something like 130 or 150K pay-per-view buys from this. So you're telling me a company that has 500,000 people watching it, maybe globally 700K, I don't know, somewhere around that their attachment rate is that high? That's astronomically unreal. The UFC, which has a way bigger fan base, on their weakest pay-per-views, we're getting that here and there. I just don't believe that the attachment rate's that high. I feel like a lot of these numbers that he throws out are bullshit. And it's funny because he's not a numbers guy. He never has been. He can't even read Google Charts correctly. The Google Trends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a little confusing. I'm not good. I'm not good at them.
I don't know, but it's just kind of stupid, And then AEW never says anything about this. And, you don't expect them to, but does this kind of silence hurt or help their company? Because you have some guy coming out, always giving out their numbers, and they never say anything. So that makes people assume that he's right about this, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that it necessarily hurts them because you're not confirming anything. Think about like Vince McMahon back in the day, like, there'd be like whatever going on and he would never address it. He would just keep on doing his thing and focused on doing the show and whatever it was, and that was it. So I think Tony Khan kind of just doing that same thing is kind of the right play. You're not acknowledging the
Yeah.
reports. I feel like if you acknowledge it, even if you have a counterpoint or admit that it's valid, then either way kind of makes it a little bit more valid just by acknowledging it. Whereas, continuing to keep your head down and push forward, it kind of just like, makes it seem like it's pure speculation, which it obviously is anyway.
I agree. Yeah, you don't pay attention to a spoiled child throwing a fit, right? But
Exactly.
But speaking of that a little bit, do you think this does any damage to AEW's brand at all? Throughout the years, they've had a lot of production issues. You remember they had that one episode, Collision, just cut off like 30 minutes early that one time. Do you think maybe people were thinking like that we're thinking about giving it a chance? Like, because you know how people love to run with this negative stuff. Man, I heard that when you buy their pay-per-views, sometimes it doesn't even work.
I think that we're past the point of that where they're going to probably mostly attract new people that would be asking those kind of questions, and at this point you kind of want to pick your lapsed fans back up like what WWE ended up doing.
Yeah. Well, the bad thing about their stuff is like their lapsed fans don't have a historically long draw with them,
Yeah. Yeah, at least with WWE, like, you have the like you and I were lapsed fans for a while, but it's like we had watched it our entire lives. So it was like, you had that attachment whereas AEW has been out since what, 2019, you know.
Yeah.
So the people that would have that level of attachment are what, 5, 6 years old, 7,
Correct.
maybe.
Yep.
So, you know, like my nephew in the future can be like, oh, you know, AEW, it's
Yeah.
been there my whole life. I remember watching John Monksley with Uncle Cheese when I was like fucking 3.
That's funny. That's true, though.
Yeah.
Very good point.
So maybe someday, but not yet. Well, we'll get to some of the end of these questions here. A bigger question is Meltzer still relevant, or is he just feeding the same echo chamber that refuses to admit that the emperor has no clothes? Like, what's going on with this guy?
Well, I'll kind of answer your question with another question, but who the fuck's paying $16 a month for this?
I'm not sure. I have never once considered. Well, you know, I take that back. I was going to say I've never considered giving Dave Meltzer money. However, when I was a child in the
You didn't know any better.
80s and 90s, I used to buy the Wrestling Observer magazine. You know, I would buy
It was
that,
better back
and
then.
I would buy Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Those were my 2 wrestling magazines. You know.
I mean, he wasn't as nuts back then, you know. He not he's more consistent at shittier takes now. Whereas back in the day, I feel like he was more level headed and his head he was just more balanced with some of the shit he was saying. But I don't know. Either way, it's just a shame because anything that he tries to say, he just says, "Oh well, you don't know. You didn't you don't subscribe to the Observer. You don't see my sources." And it's like, dude, your stuff gets leaked out there, man. You're just saying that fucking you hide behind a paywall to make it seem like you're right.
Yep. Pay $16 to see what I have to say, and it's like, oh,
No
I get
thanks.
it. Everybody's got to make money and everything, but you know, he the shit that is being reported is not legitimate. It has been like that for a long time, and you know, I don't know. We keep talking about it. Yep. But anyway, if this 14% loss is real, AEW's got a real business problem. If it's not, it just proves Meltzer's been selling guesswork as the gospel for decades. Either way, someone's lying, and the fans deserve better than random made up math. Yeah.
I think they do. It's funny talking about some random made up math. I think we're gonna maybe come up with some random made up fucking thoughts here. So we got some veterans in the business, and they're talking about some WWE plans, and that would be on Busted Open Radio. Bully Ray Nick Nimeth said that WWE should not crown CM Punk or Jey Uso as the world champion. They argued that both guys are bigger than the belt, and that giving them gold now would hurt the product. I think it's kind of weird. Why are they trying to act seemingly like I don't even know the way to put this. Gatekeeper's not the right word, but like I just don't understand why they would even think that it's not a good idea to give Punk the belt. Come on, that's just increasing business, right? Punk's a proven draw. I think you could sell Punk style belts if you let him have a belt for a run for 6 months and made his own belt. You would make a shit ton of money off that.
Well, let me answer your question with a question. Who else in the company besides these 2 guys right now?
I think it would be cool to see Randy Orton have a run if they did it correctly.
Yeah.
I think AJ Styles would be fucking awesome. I think Aleister Black, if they handled him correctly, would have been a great guy for a situation like this. They could have really already had him build up and, build a superstar out of this. They have to at some point jump on these other guys, and you're not going to build them to some extent without giving them this run. But I think the good thing about it is, I don't know necessarily about Jay so much, but a proven with Punk is that a feud with him, and if you beat him for the belt, you're going to be more over because he's going to take care of you and do the right things to build that new star. He's invested.
All right, it's gonna elevate whoever beats him here.
That's right. I don't think they're 100% wrong here. It's just like these guys make money for the company.
Oh yeah, They're two of the biggest merchandise sellers in the company, if not the two biggest.
Yeah, like I just think it's kind of weird because it's like, what does Bully Ray necessarily know about what the fans want? I hear him having takes all the time that nobody fucking agrees with, right?
Yeah, constantly, which is weird considering, how much that fans like him and everything. I guess just because fans like you doesn't mean that they're going to like everything that you talk about or suggest.
That's true, and I just think that they're definitely off here.
Yeah. Is it just bitterness, because Dolph never got booked the right way, who knows? Maybe,
Probably.
it's kind of goofy. How long are we supposed to pretend the whole Jay's not ready when he's been, over every single week for a very long time now? It kind of sounds like some of the old heads kind of taking a shot at him and not using logic.
Well, I think too, it's like he is a former world champion now.
No.
Is that just going to be a one-time thing, or you're going to obviously keep going with it? Right?
Yeah, you would think. I would think that he's going to hold the belt again at some point, even if it's not at the right now.
I agree.
Yep. Well, if Triple H actually listened to advice like this, would WWE still be as hot as it is right now, or would it be stuck in another Roman holds the belt forever era?
I don't know, but he definitely doesn't listen to anybody except the people that are in that creative room. I think they've made that pretty clear. I'm not even sure how much Bully Ray and Nick Nimeth actually even watch the product these days. Like, I just think that that's such a strange take. I mean, again, Punk just draws money. And then, again, it's like, who the hell is right here if neither one of these guys are going to be the one that's going to win this?
Maybe LA Knight. I don't know. There's not a lot
They're
of
not doing
dudes
that.
that are. I keep pushing for that. Maybe it's
Same
just
here.
wishful thinking on my part.
We both want LA Knight to win. That's the obvious choice, but they're not doing it. So I think that's actually a three-way. LA Knight, I feel like, is just as good as an option as these guys, but it's obviously CM Punk option number one.
Yeah, definitely. I would say he's number one, and then the other guys would be like, 2A, 2B.
I agree 100%. But pretty much I feel like if WWE takes advice from these two guys who were past their prime a little while ago and maybe a little bit lost on the product, that probably would make TKO start to question what they got going on. And I loved their match that they had the other day with the Dudleys and all that. We thought it was awesome. But
Yep.
they obviously kind of, especially from a business level, they're not like corporate guys. So I think it might be safe to say that you can kind of pass on this opinion from both these guys. I would love to see either one of these guys with the belt. It's obviously about to happen. And we can go ahead and maybe talk about something that may not be obviously happening because it's just a rumor. But they are going to get bought. That isn't a rumor.
Well, we have Netflix maybe reported to be the buyer for the Warner Brothers Discovery. What's going to happen to AEW if it gets sold? The reports say that Netflix and other media giants are looking to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery and AEW's broadcast partner for Dynamite in Collision and Rampage. A sale, Rampage is no longer a show, but we got that in there anyway. A sale could completely change or even end AEW's TV deal depending on who takes over. So if Warner Brothers Discovery changes hands and the new owner doesn't care about wrestling, does AEW's entire existence on TBS and TNT totally suddenly become optional?
Well, I feel like somewhere in WWE's contract, it probably states that Netflix cannot have another wrestling show like to their stuff, at least like a live one on their stuff. I mean,
I'm sure.
maybe I could be wrong, but there's no way that Netflix would keep them around. They would 100% boot them from their stuff.
I mean, I imagine there would be some sort of no compete, not necessarily no compete, but for lack of a better term.
It's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
huge one. You can't do stuff like that. Imagine having the NFL and the Canadian Football League on there or whatever. Or maybe even the NFL and the NBA. You couldn't have both those on the same thing.
It's true. Could this make AEW be forced into a worse TV deal with a less favorable time slot, or move to like a streaming only type of service? Would this kill its momentum, or at least severely hamper it, you think?
I think if they switch to anything new, wrestling fans to some extent would follow, but they would definitely lose at least 25% of their audience. That's a number I just made up. We learned that from some guy we were talking about earlier, but
Did you have that behind a $16 paywall?
17. But
Oh
yeah,
shit!
I'm more expensive. That's how you know it's better. But
Yep.
but yeah, it depends on where they go. I think right off the bat they would end up on YouTube or Honor Club, something like that. But if they came up with something very quickly, it'd probably be, I don't know, Tubi. But they're with NXT, right?
Yep.
So they can't even do that. Where could they go? It's not going to be Hulu. I'm trying to think. Like, there has to be something out there that they could go on. I guess Paramount, since they wouldn't end up with Warner Brothers Discovery.
UFC, TKO.
Oh
Nope.
man, they're like locked out of like almost everything. I feel like the last time we were going over this, there was one streaming platform that stuck out. Peacock.
Yep. No, because they still get
no,
6
you're right.
WWE events a year.
Yeah. Holy crap. I'm trying to go over all of them in my head.
Kratom.
Yeah, Kratom Carl. That's a really cool guy. But either way, I feel like they're screwed. But maybe Netflix isn't going to get them. But somebody's going to get them. And depending if they're working with WWE, it could really hamper them. You know, we were talking the other day, and we always talk about this to some extent. Ratings do matter. And then we were reading an article the other day about old Dave's buddy, Brian Alvarez, talking about how ratings do matter. If their ratings aren't good enough for whoever buys this, and they are going to get bought, it will happen. Whoever buys this, if they don't like it, if it's not a good enough deal, they're going to get them out of there, you know? I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think anybody's going to pay them as much money as they're getting right now. I'm not a business expert, but it just makes me wonder here. Is there any way that Tony Khan could have seen all this coming? Did you think he, like, when he was figuring this deal out, that they told him, like, hey, we might be for sale here down the future? You think they would have to divulge that information, right?
I think that they don't have to tell that at all.
Really?
Yep.
So you don't think that in the end that this makes this AEW's fault for bad negotiation or an overdependency on Warner Bros. Discovery? Or is this just bad timing?
I think it's probably a little bit more of bad timing. I don't think that necessarily many people could have foresaw this even coming. As much as I usually like to poo-poo on AEW, I mean, this is just one of those giant corporate conglomerate things that happen from time to time. And sometimes, and a lot of the time, you know, unless you're somebody that is in the corporate conglomerate world, you don't know till it's happening. And even if you own a wrestling company that's on TV, you know, you don't know till it's happening. Look at Nitro. They didn't know till it was happening.
That's a very good point. I got one more for you, though. One big one. How many people stick around if their contracts run out and they don't have a major television platform?
Well, probably not many. I don't know. Is Tony going to write him the same checks that he's writing them now? Because, I mean, you know,
Daddy's going to
there's
stop.
a lot of zeros being thrown around.
Daddy's going to
and,
stop.
You know,
the paychecks at some point.
Probably, but I feel like they'll end up on TV or straight. You know, they will land somewhere. You know, there are options out there. They're not the greatest. WWE and TKO has a lot of shit locked down now.
They do,
but they'll land on their feet. I feel.
Hopefully, because man, if they're not around, that's really going to change the wrestling business in probably a pretty negative way. And not even them not being around, just that they don't have a TV platform. It's not going to be good for them, or a major streaming deal. But yeah,
I agree.
You got anything else you want to add to that?
Nah, this isn't just wrestling business as usual. This could be the moment that determines whether AEW survives as a mainstream competitor or fades into streaming irrelevance. The networks might change, the owner might change, everything could shift, and if AEW doesn't act, their next move might be somebody else's call.
It very well could be, but something that is no one else's call, or maybe it was the doctor's call. I don't really know. But Seth Rollins came out the other day. You know, we're following along on the progress of him being hurt here. We said we'd update people when it happens. So he's saying that he's going to be out for 6 months, and that pretty much rules out WrestleMania, right? Or maybe it could be right in time for it. I know they're trying to push WrestleMania back a couple more weeks so it's warmer out, as opposed to what it was in the previous years, right?
Yeah, I don't see it. When's it usually been?
I think it's
like late April, early May now.
I think it's been early May. So maybe they're going to push it into April, like later, because it used to be April.
Yeah. We'll probably be seeing it like May 2nd and 3rd or 9th and 10th.
Okay. Well,
or maybe 25th and 26th of April. We'll see.
We will.
I was just looking at the calendar there. But anyway.
But yeah, Seth Rollins officially announced, though, that he's going to be out for around 6 months after ongoing surgery on a torn rotator cuff. That's a really tough injury to recover from. This guy's rehabbing fucking all the time anymore. It happened during a recent title defense, and it's likely going to sideline him, like we were saying, through WrestleMania season. Rollins said that surgery went great, but recovery is going to be slow, meaning WWE, and they already have, to some extent, are adjusting on the fly with what's going on. So this was a freak accident, right? I mean, these things do happen. How well can WWE adapt when one of its best workers suddenly disappears? Like how do you think they've done so far?
I think that they've done well enough for the limited amount of time that they've had to pivot. I think some of this stuff that they already kind of had in the pipeline, they're just moving up and will have to adjust some of the stuff that they had planned for later because they're having to move some of the plans that they were going to do later to now.
That's definitely true. And do you think that they're going to bother trying to like keep them relevant throughout the period? Are they going to keep reminding us with little vignettes here and there because it's 6 months? Or are they just going to have it be a big old surprise? That's what they're going to do, right?
I feel like surprise would be best. The element of surprise in wrestling, it feels like a dead art almost. So
yeah, it does.
If you can surprise everyone with a big star return as opposed to announcing it, the roof is going to come off of that building. We were referencing the Austin pop or the modern pop now, the Rhea pop. We could, if they do it right, we could be referencing something called the Seth pop. Who knows?
Well, that's like one of the things that we were going to talk about a little bit. Do you think that this injury could like kind of ironically help him by freshening up his act a little bit and giving fans like this big return moment?
I do. Like Uncle Jim Cornette says, "How can I miss you if you ain't gone?"
Yeah.
Right. And Seth has been heavily featured for a very long time on the program. And this could definitely serve as a good reset, and you almost have him come back in like a tweener type of role where he's not quite a baby face, he's not quite a heel, he's just deranged Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I agree. Should be some good stuff.
Well, with Rollins out, does that elevate the importance of the 2 mid-card belts, the Intercontinental and U.S. titles, to kind of keep the weekly shows feeling big, or you think that they're good where they're at with the World Heavyweight Championship?
Well, I don't know. It just depends completely on who they have having the mid-card titles. There are times in the history where it has been bigger than or is just as big as the world title, but I don't think they're really going to be affected here. I don't think that. Actually, I think Dominic Mysterio is doing a pretty decent job at with his run with the Intercontinental title, but I don't think that'll be affected at all. He actually has 2 belts now. I think that it depends on whoever they put the world title on, that how important that secondary title might be, and how good of a run they have with the world title, depending versus comparative.
That makes sense. Well, for a guy that's carried the workload for years, does this finally force WWE to maybe start to think that they need to ease up on how often their top guys are wrestling, or like not even necessarily wrestling, but doing some of the more potentially damaging spots when some of these basic moves people are already getting injured off of?
I don't think so. I think that their top guys, at least like Roman and Cody, they don't let wrestle that much anyways. I feel like if you're wrestling as much as Seth Rollins is, that's him wanting to do it. I think that they have to reel him back a little bit and remind him that he's getting older, and maybe not let him do some of the stuff that he's doing, or just as frequently. You know what I mean? It seems like AEW with Kenny Omega, they're not letting him do shit most of the time anymore, unless it's a big event. So maybe that's going to be Seth's future. They have to reel him back.
Give him the Kenny treatment. I wouldn't hate that. Rather have him wrestling some of the time than none of the time.
Yeah, and it's a big deal when they do, right? But
Yep.
This obviously fucked up the WrestleMania plans, right?
Oh yeah.
Hopefully that they end up having enough momentum with whatever they do with Punk or Jey to kind of fix this. But I think that maybe this is going to end up being Bron Breakker's moment. I think it was going to be anyways, but I think we're going to get there differently now.
Yeah. Ultimately, Punk's going to end up putting over Braun somehow. I don't think it'll necessarily be a clean victory, but I think that's ultimately how we're going to get there. And it wouldn't surprise me if at that point we see Bronson end up turning on him, or maybe he ends up with a mid-card belt and they just roll around with the titles for a while, and then Seth comes back.
Bronson turning on him. But and here's I think the big one here is when Rollins comes back, do you think he's instantly going to reclaim that top spot, or is he going to have to maybe get a middle card title first, or do something different besides the main event picture?
I mean, he's going to be right back in the main event picture. That's like not that he's The Rock, but I mean, he is one of their top stars now. It's like asking, oh well, is The Rock going to be in the main event picture when he comes back to So it's same type of idea. Yeah, he's going to never not be in the main event picture. I mean, maybe when he gets on the very backside of his career, you might see him slip back down to the like U.S. title or intercontinental feuds to like boost up some new guys that need to be brought to that next level. But I don't know. We might just see him main event scene for the rest of his career.
I think that'll be the case. I would actually love to see him in the mid card title for a little bit though, and get one of those and elevate one of those titles. That would be cool.
Like kind of like what they have done with Drew.
Yeah.
I feel like Drew is a good example of being able to successfully bounce back and forth between the mid card and the main card.
Yeah, I agree completely. But that being said, we definitely hope that he ends up, getting healthy, coming back. Don't rush back. Take your time and come back the right way. And we're both looking forward to it. But I don't think this is a disaster. It's an opportunity. Back in the day, these opportunities made stars, and if they gave people the momentum and gave them a shot, they definitely have enough talent on the roster to really take care of this, and maybe have Rollins be tossed in with one of them when he comes back. But depending on how they handle these next 6 months is going to show whether or not this roster is as deep as everybody says it is.
My jersey keeps doing this weird thing here.
I see that. That's funny. But anyways, we're going to get on
because of the way that the numbers are.
Oh shit! We're getting
sidetrack of the story here. You see how they're big stiff on account of being this is a real jersey for the fans there. Like one of the actual on-field one. The Bucks are doing good this year, so I wanted to rep my boys this episode.
Well, hell yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But like I was saying, we're gonna be that's wrapping up our news there. Now we're going to be talking about what we're going to be talking about next, and that's going to be dang old Collision and SmackDown, right? SmackDown's happening in probably about 15 minutes, so we're going to wrap up, and I'll turn that on, and I'm going to start enjoying my night. You know, I got home from work a little bit late, and we worked on the podcast. I ate, and then we got our podcast recording going on, and we got this episode about to be wrapped up for you fine ladies and gentlemen checking out our product here.
Just about in the can, as
yeah,
professionals in the industry say. And like TJ was saying, next episode we'll have the
OverMark Entertainment Collision review.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
You want to? I can't find it.
Oh man. Maybe we deleted it.
I don't know. Maybe we never made it.
I think we definitely did. Maybe it was one that just got deleted because we weren't using it.
Yeah, probably needed space on one of the other soundboard things. But don't forget to go to OverMark, or Jesus Christ, I can't fucking talk. Go like all of our socials and things of that nature. Follow us, whatever you kids do on the internet, at OverMark ENT. Please like, comment, and subscribe on all of our things. All of that jazz. We appreciate everybody listening. TJ, I appreciate you. Happy Halloween, brother.
Yeah, you too. Just another day for me. I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of sad that that's how it gets to be when you're an adult. You know, there's a rap song where the guy's like, "Holidays just be another day to me." Oh, it's a Tech Nine track. Yeah, holidays just be another day to me. Tech Nine's a good rapper for you folks out there that
he's all right.
May not know. He's one of the better ones.
He used to come around the area. He used to live and do smaller shows and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw him a few years back with obviously Chris Calico played with him because he does all the songs with him and everything. But ESGN, Jaron Benton was one of the guys that opened for him, and he's actually a pretty good rapper too. I was not familiar with his game.
We are now.
Yeah. Then they had the dudes that went on before Tech were like some white dudes that were wearing like extra long wife beater t-shirts with bulletproof vests on over them.
Oh,
and,
no.
You know, the black flat bill hats and black sunglasses and shit. I couldn't tell you who they were or what their shit was about. They weren't really very good.
Yeah, there's always those at those shows. You're kind of there for just like the last two guys or like the last person. I can't tell you, like, when I went to the Suicide Boys concerts, the people that they had going before them, fucking garbage. There was this Max O'Cream was one of them, man. He's got a couple good songs, but man, he's just a slob. He's a slob. Like, he's like, man, you know, y'all my family, right? Y'all listen to my software family. Well, how come my family don't have none of my merch? I don't see none of my merch out there. Y'all my family? It was some funny, sad shit. But anyways,
buy my stuff.
We can go ahead.
Oh, real quick before we get out of here, you know, we didn't talk about this. We didn't plan this, but you know, obviously TJ and I are pretty big fans of Limp Bizkit, and I just wanted to take a second and you know, R.I.P. to Sam Rivers. You know, the bass player of Limp Bizkit had passed away this week, and man, 2025, we're losing a lot of them, and that one was pretty unexpected. He was only 49, and you know, in the wake of that, Break Stuff has gone #1 on the Billboard charts again. So you know, Limp Bizkit is #1 on the charts in 2025.
Yeah, that fucking stinks, man. But you can't live forever. It kind of makes you just remember to take care of yourself and try to take care of the people you care about, because we could all be out of here whenever.
Makes me really kick myself in the ass for not getting up there last year when they played in North Carolina. Fuck.
You're good. I mean, that's a trip, but I mean, I live here and I at least didn't go, but it is what it is. You know, just kind of makes you to just remember, like, try to get out there before this stuff's not available anymore.
Yeah, we're all getting older.
Yeah.
You know, TJ's in his late 30s. I'm in my early 40s. So all of these bands that we grew up loving, these dudes are going to be in their 50s and, you know, even 60s. You know, like James Hetfield just turned 60, I think, this year or last year. So, you know, our heroes are getting older. So get out there and see them.
Yep.
You know, don't wait till next tour. You never know what's going to happen. This dude was 49. Fuck.
Yeah, we all got to start getting out there and enjoying it. It's easy to, I guess, get tired from work, and that's a legitimate excuse, but I got an excuse that we're wrapping this fucker up. We're going to get on out of here. We're going to see you guys on the next one. I appreciate you, Dave. I appreciate the listeners for listening. Like, subscribe, all that shit. We're going to see you guys next time. I'm going to sign off. You say bye, Dave, and I'll hit that, I'm not going to hit the music. I guess we stopped doing that for now until,
Get it on out of here.
yeah, but we'll bring it back at some point in the future. We're just trying to streamline the show a little bit into some new viewers, and unless people kind of get to know us, we feel like the song might be a little bit of a barrier. You know, people click away fast. We're just trying to get the shit going. But I'm out of here. Take it easy, Dave. Take it easy, fan people.
Hell yeah. See you later, OverManiacs.